Week 16 is upon us. J-Dude here to give you his predictions and thoughts on this NFL season. Merry Christmas, everybody. I hope Santa got you everything you want. I hope you're watching Elf or your favorite Christmas movie. And I hope you've had all the candy canes in the world. Let's get started, shall we? First game up, we have Green Bay. And
Hold up! I'm Matt, your special guest today.
I have a special guest here today. Matt, great to see you as always.
Good to see you, Joel.
Something feels off here.
I don't know. I've never been a guest host on one of these videos before.
As I was saying, the first game we have on tap, the Green Bay Packers and the Cleveland Browns. What more do you have to tell us, Matt?
All right, I will give you your scoop with this one. This week, the Green Bay Packers took a win against the Baltimore Ravens. They clinched the NFC North title with that game. No other clinching scenarios for the Packers. Well, obviously not, because they already clinched, so what am I thinking? On to the Cleveland Browns, everybody. The Cleveland Browns are right here. The Cleveland Browns are 12th in the AFC. They're holding on to a record of 7-7. The Browns are coming off of they played the Raiders. They lost. Oh yeah, they lost on a Daniel Carlson field goal to end the game.
Daniel Carlson hit a field goal.
Yes. And the Packers, I talked about them, but not their standing. They are first in the NFC. They're holding on to a record of 11-3. They have a one-game lead over all of the other teams that are division leaders. All the other teams are 10-4. Packers are 11-3. Obviously, there's an injury report that has been released for this game, so I will find it right now. You can do comedic relief while I get this up.
Oh, what I love about Christmas is being able to spend time with family. And I just think it's so important that we remember the reason we're here.
Mm-hmm.
What brings us together. Football! Can you believe it? We're getting football on Christmas? That's unbelievable.
I absolutely can.
I'm crying thinking about it.
All right, I've got the injury report pulled up. Also, on a side note, you're talking about Christmas movies. I actually watched the movie Elf this week, but in Spanish, in our Spanish class.
They took it...
I don't know if it's hard for you to believe, but it is very difficult to watch Elf in Spanish.
Seeing Will Ferrell speak in Spanish must be really difficult.
Well, it's weird when you hear the audio, but then you see the picture and they don't match up. So that's what makes it the most awkward.
It is awkward.
Onwards, here is the injury report. For the Green Bay Packers, they will be without left tackle David Bakhtiari. He's been out for quite a bit of the year, so this is not the first time. Linebacker Ty Summers, who I have personally never heard of before. Wide receiver Malik Taylor is also out for this game. I do know him, as is right tackle Billy Turner. So I do not know who their backup right tackle is, but Billy Turner has been a staple in their offensive line for quite a few years now. The Browns will be without safety John Johnson in this game. He has a hamstring injury and he is out. Questionable. We have defensive end Myles Garrett. We all know who he is, and I think we all know why we know who he is. And defensive tackle Malik Jackson is also out with a knee injury. Myles Garrett is a groin. I would not want a groin injury. That sounds awful.
Yeah, it does sound awful. Thank you for this beautiful insight, Matt.
Absolutely.
When I think of this game, I just think of Aaron Rodgers. You know, everything he's been doing this year has been incredible. The Browns, obviously Baker Mayfield's been up and down. That offense has been up and down. And with injuries, too. Their best defensive player, Myles Garrett. And it's just hard to really see the Browns having any momentum to try to make the playoffs, because this was a Super Bowl contender at the beginning of the year, and now it's just you're kind of pulling the Vikings almost.
They are.
They just have a lot of...
They had potential, but it's not there.
A lot of potential, a lot of expectations, and it's just faltering off. Kevin Stefanski, I'm so sorry. But having to pick a winner here, Green Bay's been on a roll. The Browns are struggling. Easy pick here. I think Green Bay wins.
Right now, the Cleveland Browns have a 15% chance at the playoffs. A win would boost them to 34%, and a loss would propel them all the way down to just 9%. To me, I'm also going to go with the Green Bay Packers. They are just simply the better overall team. I've doubted them for the past 3 years on are they going to be better than last year. But Aaron Rodgers, he has stepped up his level of play I mean, he was good last year, but he is really good this year just as much. I'm going to go with the Green Bay Packers. I think they're just simply the better overall team in this matchup. Cleveland has not had the year that they were planning for, and that is why I think the Packers have exceeded expectations. As a Viking fan, they have definitely exceeded my expectations, and I think the Packers should be able to take home this game.
Again, we just think Green Bay is going to win. We obviously want Cleveland to win.
Yeah.
But Green Bay is just
These videos are our truthful thoughts.
Informational, inspiring, captivating.
I was at some friend's house watching the Monday Night Vikings game, and I talked about these videos, and they were like, why don't you pick the Vikings to win? I'm like, sometimes I don't always see my team as winning. Like, the reason I do these, every time I pick a team, even if it's against my own, I always try and find a legitimate reason why I think this team is going to win and why they're better. So if the Vikings are playing the Packers and the Packers are just simply better, I'm not going to pick them just because it's my team. If I think the Packers are the better team, I'm going there. This is my real, pure thoughts of non-biased who's going to win in each game. So that is why I think the Packers are going to win. But obviously, we would want Cleveland to take this one home. For our next matchup, this is about to be a good one. We've got the Colts and Cardinals coming up Saturday night. I also did not say that for Saturday afternoon's game, which is tomorrow, because for us today is Friday, and this video will maybe be out today, probably today, as long as I can get on the Wi-Fi at this house. Then I'll be able to upload it today. That game is at 3:30 Central Time on Fox. This upcoming game here, Colts-Cardinals, you can see it on your screen, is on the NFL Network at 7:15 p.m. Central, 8:15 Eastern. And we are on to that game right now. It is the Indianapolis Colts taking on the Arizona Cardinals tomorrow night. I think this is going to be a pretty interesting game to watch.
I think it'll be a very good game as well. The Cardinals suffered a very tough loss to the Lions. You can't really think of a word. It was just shocking. I mean, and then you got the Colts, who Carson Wentz threw 5 completions, and Jonathan Taylor just said, "Hey, I'll do the rest," and they whooped the Patriots. The score might not say it, but if you watch the game, they whooped them. And the Colts got a lot of momentum coming into this game, playing for their playoff lives.
Absolutely. That was interesting. I was not watching last Saturday's game. I had a different family Christmas going on, so I was not watching it. I saw parts of it, but I was expecting I thought it was going to be a good game, but I was expecting the Patriots to put a bit more of a fight than they did. Like, it looked a lot more lopsided than
I expected, because the Colts did the same thing to the Patriots that the Patriots did to the Bills when it was really windy that game. And we can talk about that game more when we talk about Bills, Patriots, but they just ran the ball. And for only Carson Wentz to throw it 5 times, I mean, even one of his completions was a little flick. Direct snap to Taylor, handoff to Wentz, and a little flip forward. I would expect to beat the Patriots, you'd have to throw it more. But the way they're able to dominate on the ground was just really shocking.
I think that the loss of DeAndre Hopkins for this season, I think the report was that he should be back for the playoffs from what I saw. But I think that's definitely going to hurt them, because, I mean, that's their number one pass catcher is Nuke Hopkins. So without him, it's going to be interesting. It passes it to a lot of other players, like, what is the one rookie? I can't think of his name. Rondale Moore. And Zach Ertz could be using this offense a lot more now. And honestly, I don't even know if I know any receivers. Oh, Christian Kirk.
Another thing to think of, too, is, it hasn't really affected him a lot this year, but not having Larry Fitzgerald this year could be huge now coming into such a crunch time with Hopkins out. Who's the go-to guy,
Yes.
Once Hopkins was out, it was always Larry Fitzgerald. He was a sure-handed receiver. Now you got to put the trust in Rondale Moore and Christian Kirk. But they do have a good back in James Conner. He's been picking up the slack there on the offensive end. And getting Chase Edmonds back has been huge. He can help them change a pace. But I think this will be a really good game. But of course, we need to go over the injury report. And for more on that,
to Matt. The Colts will be without safety Anderson Dejo. He's a former Vikings player. Remember him back in the day. Then he played for the Browns, and from what I heard with the Browns, he was not that good. But he was decent.
Turning it on right now with the Colts.
He is out for this game. He did not clear concussion protocol in time. Center Ryan Kelly is out for this game. He is out with a personal injury following a personal tragedy, so all prayers go out to whoever that is and to Ryan Kelly. As for the Arizona Cardinals, defensive lineman Jordan Phillips is listed as out in this game. He has a knee injury. We've got a few players as questionable. Wide receiver Rondell Moore, we just talked about him. He is questionable going into this with an ankle injury, as is running back James Conner. That would be big if he doesn't play. He has a heel injury. That would give the ball to Chase Edmonds, but James Conner's been a big part of the running game this year. It's been more of a 1A, 1B than a 1 and 2. Also, offensive lineman Max Garcia is questionable in this game. He has a knee injury. He went from limited to DNP to limited. So usually when you go from limited to DNP, that's not a good sign, but at least he was limited out there again on Thursday. As for the playoff clinching scenarios, well, starting with the standings, the Indianapolis Colts are 5th in the AFC. They're holding on to a record of 8-6. The Colts are coming off of a win against the Patriots, like we just talked about. The Cardinals are 4th in the NFC. They have a record of 10-4. 2 weeks ago, they were number 1 in the NFC, but they dropped 3 spots since then. They're coming off of a loss to the Detroit Lions. The Arizona Cardinals can clinch a playoff spot with a win this week, or a Philadelphia loss and San Francisco loss, but San Francisco already lost, or a Philadelphia loss and Minnesota loss, or Philadelphia loss and New Orleans loss, or Minnesota loss, or San Francisco loss. Holy crap, there's a lot.
A lot of scenarios. So the biggest thing you need to know, Arizona, they need to control their own destiny. They want to win this game.
Yeah.
They want to get into the playoffs. Remember, with the win or the loss, a tie can also work. If the Cardinals tie, they clinch.
Yeah.
But you don't want to tie. Ties are stupid. You play to win.
The Vikings tied a couple years ago against the Packers in Lambeau. That really screwed with their standings for the rest of the year.
If you play to tie, you deserve to lose.
That is a good quote right there. So there was even more scenarios that I didn't even list, but I'm not going to list them because there's 7 of them.
It's stupid.
So really no need. So really the only one we need to know is Arizona win or tie clinches a playoff spot. So that's really what we need to know for this one. For 538, let's take a look. The Indianapolis Colts are holding on to an 89% chance at making the playoffs. A win would push them all the way up to 98, and a loss would drop them still to 81, so they still have a good shot no matter what. Then we have the Arizona Cardinals. Let me find them. Where are they? Never mind, we found them. The Cardinals have over a 99% chance at the playoffs. A win clinches, of course, like we talked about. A loss still has them at over 99, so they're basically in. All they need to do is clinch it. It's right here. They just need to put their hand out and grab it.
You need to firmly grasp it, as Patrick said. Firmly grasp it in your hand. But in this game, you know, the Colts have a lot of momentum. But I also think the Cardinals are going to probably figure it out too. It'll be a close game. It'll come down to the wire. I think the Cardinals win. I don't think Carson Wentz makes enough plays to win them this game. And Jonathan Taylor can only do so much. MVP.
Personally, I'm actually going to go against that. I think it's interesting to see whether or not James Conner and Randall Moore play, because that's 2 of their biggest playmakers without Nuke Hopkins. So not if, because we know Hopkins is not going to be out there. If James Conner is not out there, and if Rondell Moore aren't out there, then really all that gives it to is Christian Kirk, Zach Ertz, and Chase Edmonds, which isn't awful, but that's some big players that are going to be out of the picture. I like the momentum coming in for the Colts. They have been doing good recently. They started the year not that good, but now they have really been turning it on recently. I like the Indianapolis Colts in this game to take the win tomorrow night against the Cardinals. On to the Sunday noon games. This game's an awful one. I'm going to go with the Jets. I don't even know how much analysis is needed. None is. Both teams are bad. I like the Jets.
I like the Jets too. Jaguars have the number 1 pick. Don't want to mess up their tank. That's all you're getting out of us. This is dumb. I don't get why we have to do this.
All right, moving on. Chargers and Texans coming up next.
This game is going to be a little longer than the last one, but won't be as long as others. We have the Texans and the Chargers.
The Los Angeles Chargers are coming off. What are they coming off of? Who did they play?
I think they won.
Chargers played last Thursday and they lost to the Chiefs in overtime due to a Travis Kelce touchdown to win the game in overtime. The Houston Texans are coming off of a win against the Jaguars, but let's be honest, no one really cared.
Who even watched that game?
No one. Let's see if the injury report has been released, but it is possible that it has not yet because the Chargers are on the West Coast, so it's possible that there's no report out yet. Dumb West Coast. Who needs the West Coast, guys? Yeah, it has not come out yet, so can't really base it off that.
Let's just look at the Chargers for playoffs.
Yes, sir, we will do that. The Los Angeles Chargers sitting at 6th in the AFC. They are holding on to a record of 8-6. Again, the Chiefs are 10-4, so they're 2 games behind, but these two teams did split. So
Chiefs have tiebreaker over them.
Oh, okay. So basically, so if I'm not mistaken, does that mean that the Chiefs could win the division this week? It's possible that's wrong because another AFC West team. Oh, yeah. Kansas City Chiefs clinch AFC West division title with Kansas City win and Chargers loss. So
or a tie, but as we said before, ties are stupid.
Yeah, again, I never talk about ties because there's like a 0.0000 times 101% chance it's actually going to happen. So I never include ties when I talk about it because there's like no chance.
It's just something to keep in mind.
There's only ever like one tie every year, not even sometimes. So no one could predict a tie. So well, you kind of can, but not really. So yeah, like we said, Chargers 6th in the AFC. They have a record of 8-6. Also in the AFC West, we have who else is in the AFC West? The Raiders are 10th in the AFC. They have a record of 7-7. And the Broncos are also 7-7. But I believe the Raiders and Broncos are playing each other, so yeah. But either way, right now the Chargers, I would say they're a pretty good chance to make the playoffs. They have a 75% chance at making the playoffs right now. A win would put them at 85%. A loss would drop them down to 47.
They need this game. They need a win. They need to take care of business. I think it's crazy that, we have 4 teams in the AFC West that are in contention, and we have 4 teams in the AFC North that are still in contention this late in the year, and only having 1 clinch in the Packers this late in the year.
Now we have 2, but before the week we only have 1.
Before the week. But no analysis, Chargers.
I'm going to go with the Chargers. What is my reason behind the Chargers? They're playing the Texans.
The Chargers are the better team. If you wanted a reason, there you go.
That is literally my reason is why the Chargers? Because they're playing the Texans.
And they're the better team.
That is exactly why. We are on to our next matchup. We have the Lions and Falcons coming up right now. For our next one, everybody, we have the Lions and Falcons coming up. This is not a super important game, but technically it does involve one team still in the playoff picture.
The fact that the Falcons in Week 16 are still in playoff contention.
Good for them.
Let's just see what would happen if they were to win this game, what that would do for their playoff.
They are practically out, but never say never. It's something I've learned.
The Falcons have 2% chance.
2%.
There's a chance. There's a chance, guys. Come on. With a win, still 2%. There's a lot to play for in this game, okay? I'm on the edge of my seat just thinking about how important this game is. But it's all going to go away because with a loss eliminates them. And that's what Dan Campbell does. He takes your chances and he chokes it. Grabs it. Ugh. The Lions are going to win this game. Amon-Ra St. Brown has been unbelievable. It sounds like they're without Jared Goff, but it's okay. They have Tim Boyle. Look up his college stats. He's unbelievable. Okay? There's no way Tim Boyle should even be in the NFL. But he is. He might start. Chase Reynolds, is that the guy that I'm thinking of? That's correct? Or new back? He's been exceptional, even if DeAndre Swift and Jamal Williams are out. They still have a guy they can run the ball with. They have decent weapons. I mean, Yeah, the Lions are like 2-11-1.
Yeah, they are.
Okay, they're a 66-yard field goal, a 58-yard field goal, and a tie, and then they should have beat the Bears. This is a Lions team that could have 6 wins, and they don't have a lot of talent. What Dan Campbell's done with this team is great. They have a good draft pick coming into next year, and free agents can see the Lions as a good free agency spot. Yeah, Detroit's not a great city, but what they could potentially be building in Detroit is special. Dan Campbell is a weirdo. He's a goofy guy. But if you look at like post-game wins, and that team just buys into what Dan Campbell wants. They're building into that process. They're buying into it. And, I wish they would do that with Mike Zimmer, but Mike Zimmer's not a coach you want to play for, and you don't see it in their faces. They don't want to play for him. And it's just sad.
Something that really spoke to me was after week 5 when the Vikings won on a game-winning field goal against the Lions, when at the post-game press conference, Dan Campbell cried. And it spoke to me because that just shows he's passionate about his team and he cares about winning, even when he doesn't always win. Because at the beginning of the year, he lost so many close games. It just shows that he cares about his team and he cares about winning. Because he doesn't want to see his team go 0-17. So it spoke to me, and now seeing that passion he felt at the beginning of the year, it's finally paying off. They've only won 2 games, but like to Lions fans and to whole NFL fans, 2 games is like a Super Bowl for them. And I feel happy every time they win.
And the way they're staying in games and competing, and it's not just, all right, I'm going to turn around and you just shove it.
They're nothing like the 2008 Lions. Like, those Lions were bad. This is like not bad. This is like almost like the Vikings.
Man.
Like they're there, but they're just not quite there.
They don't have the talent.
Like they're always close, but they just can't quite win the game. Almost like Minnesota. Like Minnesota could be 10-4, but or something like that. something like that. But then again, they have Mike Zimmer, so that can be said.
The Falcons, how many wins do the Falcons have?
The Atlanta Falcons are sitting right now. They are 11th in the NFC. They're holding on to a record of 6-8. Obviously, a loss would take them out of the playoffs. I think
all 6 wins are against teams that aren't even in the playoff picture. I honestly think all 6 wins are not against any team that's in it. All their losses have been blowouts to contenders. Patriots, Buccaneers. I don't even want to think.
They almost did beat the Bucs a couple weeks ago. If I remember right, they had the lead for a little bit of the game.
Yeah, but Tom Brady's too good.
Yeah, Tom Brady. There's a reason why he's the GOAT, guys. I'm not even going to lie. I'm not a Tom Brady hater.
Back on this game, though, I like what the Lions are building. I hope it continues to go upward like we're seeing it now. And I think the Lions beat the Falcons and end their playoff hopes.
I didn't even comment on the injury report. It was already released this morning, so this one I do have access to. The Falcons wide receiver Tajay Sharp, former Viking, but he didn't do anything here. He's doubtful going into this game, but he's not a super big piece, if I know correct. The Detroit Lions have a whole book of players that are listed on here. Out, corner Amani Oruwariye. It's always hard to saying it the first time. Amani Oruwariye. Okay, there, I got it. He is out for this game with a thumb injury. Linebacker Josh Woods is out. He has a neck injury. Defensive end Michael Brockers is questionable. Offensive guard Jonah Jackson, questionable. Linebacker Julian Okwara, questionable. Wide receiver Khalif Raymond, questionable. Linebacker Jalen Reeves-Maybin, questionable. He's been out for past few games. Wide receiver Josh Reynolds, questionable. And running back DeAndre Swift, questionable. He has been out since Thanksgiving. Well, he left during the game on Thanksgiving, which was, 4 weeks ago?
Something, yeah.
So, he's been limited the whole week. I would almost hate to say it, but I think I would almost like to see DeAndre Swift in a full practice before they set him out there again. That's what I feel. It's possible he could play. He's been limited Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, but I would almost like to see a full practice from him, considering how it seemed like his injury would only be like a 1 week injury, and now it's turned into a whole month injury. I would almost like to see him have a full practice before they send him out.
Maybe even shut him down because Chase Reynolds has been really good. The practice squad running back they picked up, and then Jamal Williams as well, just keeping DeAndre Swift healthy going into next year too. That's not how Dan Campbell wants to coach, okay? He wants to win. He wants to win bad.
I like the Lions as well going into this game. Both teams, the Falcons are hit or miss, but they're missed for the most part. It's like a 75-25 for them. The Lions are not awful, honestly. They're not that bad. They're a decent team. But I think that I'm going to go with the Lions. With their momentum coming in off of the Cardinals game, they are just simply the better team, and now I feel like the players in the locker room are actually going to be excited to go out there and play because they know they have a chance at winning.
And they know that they can end the Falcons' playoff hopes, and they want to be the team to do it. And Dan Campbell's probably going to want to rally behind that thought, rally behind whatever he does to motivate his team. It's a team you want to root for. You don't like seeing Dan Campbell sad.
No, I'm going with the Lions. He's going with the Lions. Moving on to our next game, I believe we have the Bucs taking on the Panthers. I believe that's our next one, but if not, you'll find out. Moving on, 3, 2, 1.
This next matchup, we have the Carolina Panthers going up against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We're not going to spend too much time on this game, so we're going to go straight into the injury report. Matt, what can you tell us about the injuries?
The official injury report has not been released, but there are kind of a couple notes I took off just over the week. I have wide receiver Chris Godwin has torn his ACL. It is confirmed he is going to be out for the season. Initially, he was listed as he might be back for the playoffs, but no, he will be out for the season. Running back Leonard Fournette and wide receiver Jalen Darden and linebacker Levante David, all of them were placed on the IR this week. That means they'll be out for the regular season. And I believe that means they can be activated again for the playoffs. But at least for these last 3 weeks of the year, they will both be out. Antonio Brown should be back for this one because this note sheet is still from last week, so it's old. And Antonio Brown should be back off of his suspension. And that's really all the major injuries for that side.
Another thing to know for the Buccaneers, Mike Evans is week to week.
Yeah.
He might be out this game. We don't know.
I forgot to note him.
But understand this. Look who they're playing.
Yeah. This is a game where you don't need every single player in.
You need one man and one man only. Tom Brady. He
can play with high school players and still win the Super Bowl, let's be honest.
He got outplayed last Sunday, and that does not sit well with Tommy Boy. And he's going to look at this Panthers defense. As good as it is, what doesn't help is how bad their offense is and gives their defense a terrible field position, and it's just hard. I mean, I think their offense gives up more points than their defense does, and it's just really sad. Cam Newton has been a good spark plug for a week, and then it's just that fell away. Sam Darnold, I think, is at backup from IR, but I don't want to see him touch the field ever again. P.J. Walker, you could give him a chance, or even Matt Barkley. Suit up anybody at quarterback. Did you see Brandon Zylstra kick? Former Cobber,
Brandon Zylstra. He's from Minnesota. He's from Spicer, by the way.
Yeah.
Spicer's in Minnesota.
He had to kick off because of Zane Gonzalez's injury. But, if Brandon Zylstra can kick, he can play quarterback, okay? Anybody can play quarterback for the Panthers.
You can go Taysom Hill mode.
And probably put up the same efficiency as Cam Newton or whoever plays quarterback. It's so sad to see how bad the Panthers have been. And that's why the Buccaneers are going to blow them out of the water.
Because of the fact that they're playing the Panthers, that is why I don't think every single Bucs player that's listed as questionable going into this game, I don't think every single player needs to play. That was how I felt this week on Monday night when the Vikings played the Bears. The Bears have given Vikings games, actual games, for how many years now. But the way I viewed it was with Adam Thielen's injury, he was listed as questionable, but I was hoping that he wouldn't play just because I don't want to risk the injury. And we saw what happened to him in 2019 with his hamstring. He was out for a couple weeks, came back, and then he just aggravated again. And then he was out for a lot more of the year. And that was what I didn't want to see. And if it were a team like the Vikings playing the Rams this week, if that game would have been last week, then I would have felt maybe different about playing a guy like Adam Thielen because it's a team like the Rams. But they were playing the Bears, and the Bears aren't quite as dangerous of a team, so I felt that we wouldn't need him in that KJ and Conklin and Cookie and all the other players would be able to flourish enough without him where it's not a priority that Adam Thielen plays. And so that's the way I feel with this game, too. The Bucs don't need every single player in because I think even with some non-starters, they still should be able to win because it is the Panthers. The Bucs are third in the NFC. They're holding on to a record of 10-4. The Bucs, I believe, can clinch a playoff. They can clinch the division title this week. Let's scroll down to the NFC. Cowboys, Rams, Bucs. There they are. The Rams can, or nope, not the Rams. The Bucs can clinch a division title with a win or a Saints loss to the Dolphins Monday night. The Bucs can also clinch a playoff berth otherwise with a Minnesota loss and a Philadelphia loss, or Minnesota loss and Dallas loss. But that doesn't really matter because the Bucs are going to win anyways. So I'm going to go with the Bucs. I'm going to go with the Bucs to clinch the division title this week. The Bucs are just simply the better team, and they got Tom Brady, and that's, let's be honest, who even knows who's going to start for the Panthers at quarterback? Even whoever it is, it's probably some no-name guy that's, if they're not worth picking up in fantasy football, then I don't want them. They're not going to win. If they're not a good fantasy football player, then they're not going to win. That's by default.
They could sign me, honestly. It's just sad.
They could. J-Dude would be really good at football, specifically at quarterback, I bet.
Insert my highlights.
There's a lot of them. Did you like all 0 highlights that I just inserted? I hope you did.
You just see all those one-handed catches I made. Enough talking about how great I am. We need to move on.
I like the Bucs. He likes the Bucs. Why? It's the Panthers, and that is our real reason, is because it's the Panthers. We have the Giants and the Eagles coming up next with some pretty significant implications on the NFC wildcard race. We have got the Giants and Eagles in a pivotal NFC East matchup, barring significant playoff implications on the NFC wildcard. The New York Giants are out of the playoffs. Or maybe they're not actually out. Hold on.
They're still in it.
There's a chance. They are 14th in the NFC. They have a record of 4-10. If the Giants somehow make the playoffs, I will delete my YouTube channel. You heard it from me. That's how confident I am that it's not happening, because it's not happening. Then we've got the Philadelphia Eagles. They're 8th in the NFC. They're holding on to a record of 7-7. The New York Giants are coming off of probably a loss, but I don't know for sure.
Yeah, they lost.
They lost to the Dallas Cowboys. Then we've got the Philadelphia Eagles. They're coming off of a win on Tuesday against the Washington football team. They started slow, but the Eagles were able to pick it up. Specifically after halftime, they were able to turn on the Jets. Like I said, the Giants have less than a 0.01% or less than a 0.1% chance.
What happens if they win? What happens if they win?
Wait, there it is. Still less than
They
0.1.
almost get eliminated.
Guys.
Wait, if they lose, are they done for sure?
Yep.
Okay.
So this is a must-win game for both teams. Really just for the Eagles, because let's be honest, the Giants are not going to win this game. You can be my comedic relief while I pull up the injury report.
I was trying to think of something funny to say, but now I don't.
Don't have any good
I don't
jokes?
have anything funny to
No
say.
good jokes to share?
I just love Christmas. And I hope you guys are
I like
enjoying
Christmas
your
too.
holiday season, right? As you're watching this video, you're snuggled up by the fire, drinking your eggnog, and you're watching Matt and J Dude give their insightful thoughts on the NFL. I remember we did this game 4 weeks ago, and I think we were both wrong on the pick, so we're going to make up for that with better insight. Why did the chicken cross the road?
I do not know.
To get to the other side. Now read off this injury report. I'm dying.
All right. It says, as of... Is today 12/23?
24.
No, that was yesterday, so... They have not released an official injury report yet, then. At least not as far as I know.
And the Giants don't.
Let's go here. Maybe there is. This is where it just was.
Yeah.
Is this today, December 20th? Yeah,
That's their official.
Oh, so it just doesn't have their... Oh, so maybe that's where... So, no players are having a designation for the Eagles going into this game.
Yet.
As of now, this says Friday, December 24th, and it has no designations.
It just says their practice status.
We will say, offensive tackle Jordan Mailata, he did not practice on Friday with an ankle injury. Running back Miles Sanders also did not practice with a quad injury.
And those are the only two that are really big. The big name, Fletcher Cox practice.
Everyone else is full
Dickerson
practice. So.
The bigger names, Jalen Hurts did have a full practice. He will more than likely now start on Sunday, as the Giants will probably lean towards Jake Fromm to start on Sunday. Big neck Glennon.
It is funny.
Unfortunately, can't play, and we can't watch his greatness on the football field.
It's kind of funny, though, seeing how many people are, like, triggered that Mike Glennon was starting just because of how bad he is. Now everyone is actually, like, pushing for Jake Fromm, and I am, too. When you have a guy like, why can't I think of his name? All of a sudden, the bald guy.
Mike Glennon.
Mike Glennon. Yeah, I don't know why I forgot his name. I blanked. When you have a guy like Mike Glennon, who's like 50 years old and never been a starter in his whole career, and then you've got a young guy that could be the future of your team, and you're technically still in the playoffs, but I mean, they're basically out. If I was a Giants fan, I would be pushing for Jake Fromm to start as well.
Because who knows what happens with Daniel Jones. Even going into this draft next year, I think they just should still keep Daniel Jones, because he's not really a generational quarterback that right now looks like can turn a franchise around. There's not one guy that the Giants should really push for. Daniel Jones just needs help. Okay, Kenny Galladay gone. Kadarius Toney's back, so hopefully that connection can get rekindled. Evan Ingram's been stepping up, but at the end of the day, guys, this is the Giants. You know, last time we kind of making fun of them, and we were like, oh, Philly's going to walk in and win this, and then Jalen Hurts threw 3 picks, and then Jalen Reagor dropped a touchdown. But this time it's different. I think the Eagles will not overlook the Giants. It's a rivalry, division game, and the Eagles need this to stay in the playoff hunt. They really need this game, and I think the Eagles dominate this game. They're going to get going early. They're not going to want to start slow. They want to pump. They want to throttle the gas quick. Jalen Hurts, please help me out. I need help in fantasy.
It did take me some scavenging, but I did find the official injury report for it. Still, that was the official one. Eagles have no designations, but the Giants do have some designations, so I will list them right now. Offensive lineman Ben Bredeson. I don't know how to say his name, so I'm sorry. I hope it's one of those 3 options I gave out. He is going to be out with an ankle injury. Running back Gary Brightwell is also out. I have no idea who that guy is. Must be one of the backups to Saquon. But Saquon's
limited in practice all week.
Saquon's limited in practice. He has no designation. That means he should be good to go. Defensive lineman Austin Johnson. He is questionable going into this game. He went from limited to DNP, so that is not good when you downgrade during the week. Also, we have a few other players that I missed. Wide receiver Colin Johnson is out. He was just put on the report on Friday with a hamstring injury. Defensive back J.R. Reed is questionable. He's listed with COVID ramp-up. I don't even know how to say this guy's name. Linebacker
O'Shane Zimines. It's the same thing in COVID ramp-up. He is questionable, and Kadarius Toney's listed as questionable.
It is, by the way, that the O'Shane or Oshani Jimenez or whatever, his name starts with an X, so that is why I have no idea how to even...
Consonants are hard.
I can't even attempt to say that. Also, to note, too, I did not say this yet, Eagles coach Nick Sirianni has tested positive for COVID. We do not know. He is not out for this game. It is possible he could return, but I believe it is like the passing game coordinator or something that would step in as head coach if Nick Sirianni can't go. Even if Sirianni does not go, I like the Eagles in this matchup. The Giants have been kind of a hot mess the whole year. Injuries have been a big problem for the Giants, They are still technically in playoff contention, but not really. I did not look at 538 for the Eagles, so I should real quick do that, and then I'll finish my pick. Right now, the Eagles have a 38% chance at the playoffs. A win puts them at 50, and a loss drops them to 13. So
they need this game bad.
They need this game. I like the Eagles. They're just simply the better overall team. They really turned it on last week. They did. The beginning of the game was not good. They kind of got owned. But as the game went on, they turned it on, and their offense was moving the ball really well. I like the Eagles in this game. He likes the Eagles. I like the Eagles to eliminate the Giants' playoff chances. Moving on, we have a really good game coming up next. It is the Bills and the Patriots in an AFC East showdown.
Football. Huge rematch. If you remember the game a few weeks ago, it was very windy at Apple Orchard Park, and the Patriots had a funny stat line. 48 plays on offense. They ran the ball 45 times. They passed it 3 times, and they still won the game. The Bills have been up and down. Bills have been probably one of the more disappointing teams this year, just based off how they did last year and then the expectations coming into this year with Josh Allen. The offense has been a little shaky. They're trying to find their rhythm. They did beat the Panthers last week. The Patriots did lose to the Colts. This game, though, Mac Jones is going to have to throw the ball more. I don't think the Bills are going to want to be run over like that ever again. But before we talk anymore, here's Matt with the injury report.
So, there is really no real injury report for this game. I'm sorry.
My apologies.
It is kind of dumb. See, the thing is, right now, at this exact time in the day, it is 3:29 p.m. Central Time. And because it is Friday, teams release their injury reports on Friday afternoon. So some teams have already released theirs, some have not. That's why, like, 2/3 of the games so far have had an official one come out. But this one has not, which is surprising because it's an East Coast game, or 2 East Coast teams. So usually, sometimes that dictates where in the country they are. Sometimes that dictates when it comes out. But this one has not come out. Something I did see is that Ramondre Stevenson has missed practice for the Patriots running back room. He's missed practice for the past 2 games. But, yeah. I don't even know who else. Damian Harris. That's who I was thinking of. He already is the starter, but still. Also do have to note, Cole Beasley is on the COVID list. He is out for this game. We know he's unvaccinated, so he will be out.
He has an opportunity to return next week, too.
So, yes, as for the playoffs, the New England Patriots are 3rd in the AFC. They have a record of 9-5. I believe heading into last week, they held number 1, unless that was...
Yeah. And if they win, they would overtake the Titans just because they would have a tiebreaker over them.
The Titans are 10-5, and the Patriots are 9-5, so the Patriots are a half game behind. But like J-Dude here just mentioned, there is a tiebreaker headed in the Patriots' favor. As for the Chiefs, though, they are 10-4, and I believe the Chiefs hold the tiebreaker. I believe
the Chiefs would hold the tiebreaker over a lot of these teams.
Can't guarantee, but that's what I think.
As we look at the Bills
are number 7 in the AFC. They're holding on to a record of 8-6. This is a must-win game for them. Yeah.
I mean, not technically. It'd be nice if they won.
For division standpoint, it's a must-win game.
Not even like the division, just for the playoffs. They need to win. They gotta have momentum. You know, we talk about momentum. Does it really impact games? Does it impact teams? Yes, it does. Momentum does matter. The Bills need some more consistency on offense. They need to run the ball a little bit more. They can't just rely on the great arm of Josh Allen. And, man, is he beautiful. Gosh, he is such a good-looking man. And, obviously, without Cole Beasley hurts, but Gabriel Davis, I believe, will step up in his role. And I think the Bills are going to give some payback, but they're at MetLife. They're away from home. It's going to be a good game. And I think Bill Belichick, Coach of the Year, mastermind, is going to figure out Sean McDermott's team once again. I think the Patriots rebound after last week, and they beat the Bills.
I also do need to know with what you said. You talked about Gabriel Davis stepping up. He actually, I saw this morning because he's on one of my fantasy teams. He is on the COVID list. He is out for this game.
The next man up mentality, Isaiah McKenzie. He's going to step up, but it's not going to be enough because Bill Belichick's a mastermind, and he's going to help, and he's going to guide his soldiers into this battle and to get the victory royale.
Bills offensive lineman Cody Ford was also placed on the COVID list this morning.
Oh, yeah, they're dumb.
Yep. So, what did I miss? Playoff clinching scenarios. The New England Patriots can clinch the AFC East with a win and a Miami loss or tie against the Saints Monday
Ties
night.
are stupid.
We don't like ties, so it's really just New England win and Miami loss. Playoff picture is here. Patriots, 97% chance of making the playoffs. They are good to go. The Bills are right here. Right now, the Bills are 76% to make it. A win boosts them up to 98, so that is big. A loss would bump them down to 62. So, yeah.
The Bills want to win this game. They're at a disadvantage with losing Gabriel Davis and Cole Beasley. So they really want to win this game. But as I said before, I'm going to say it again, Bill Belichick's coach of the year. And he's going to outsmart the Bills, and the Patriots are going to sweep them.
I, as well, like the Patriots in this game. Patriots, I mean, people doubted them at the beginning of the year. They went, 7-9 last year or something like that. People...
The connection of Mac Jones and Bill Belichick.
Yeah.
For some reason, this average arm, funny build for a quarterback. Like look up Mac Jones in college, okay? He has a beer belly. The fact that Bill Belichick can turn him into basically the next mold of Tom Brady is crazy. And how he can scheme him to succeed is so important so he can have success. And it's just crazy, and I can't wait to watch this game.
A lot of people did doubt the Patriots going into this year, and I'll be honest, I was one of them. Because they didn't have a good year last year, so it was like, is this the end of the Patriots' reign of terror on the AFC that they've had for the past 10 years now?
And the correct answer is no. Because Cam Newton might have been the issue. They didn't really have good quarterback play. And you just got to remember, it's the white guy at quarterback that makes the Patriots go.
As for the Bills, a lot of people, like me included, saw them as a Super Bowl contending team, and now they're hit or miss every week on, are we going to see them as a good team, or are we going to see them as a team that face plants?
You know, this reminds me a lot of the Vikings, with Case Keenum. NFC Championship game, okay, they got blown out. But there was a lot of optimism. There's like, you know what, this team can do something. They add Kirk Cousins. This could be the move that catapults them into the Super Bowl. And that next season, they lose. They don't even make the playoffs.
They went 8-7-1 that year, and they missed the playoffs.
And guess who they lost to officially clinch that? The Bears. The Bears always do something like that. And that's when we talked about the Bears playing us in close games. There you go. They knocked us out of the playoffs a few years back.
Sometimes I wonder, is the Bears' sole purpose just to beat the Vikings? That's like how we wonder, is the Yankees' sole purpose just to beat the Twins?
You also got to remember, too, the Bears also make it on the wild card game on Nickelodeon, and Jimmy Graham gets into the slime zone. The game, yes, there will be another game on wild card weekend this year.
On Nickelodeon.
And we get to watch the slime zone. We get to watch young Sheldon break down the rules. It's going to be so much fun. That's why I hope the Vikings win and they make it into that game because I will be watching.
I would absolutely love to watch, but at our house we just have the basic channel package, so I will be watching the CBS version. Unfortunately, I do not get Nickelodeon.
You will not miss much.
I like the Patriots going into this game. He likes Bill Belichick and the Patriots going into this game. We are moving on to the next one. We have a pivotal game in the AFC North. It is the Bengals, and they are taking on the Ravens coming up right now.
Josh Allen is still beautiful. Pivotal game here in the AFC North and for AFC playoff implications as we have the Bengals taking on the Ravens. Ravens have skidded of late. Tyler Huntley played really well last week against the Packers, but unfortunately the Ravens don't know how to make a two-point conversion to win a game. Ultimately cost them when they lost, moving them to 8-6. The Bengals, on the other hand, I believe they're coming off of a win last week.
They beat the Broncos last week.
In a very defensive-heavy game, 15-10.
Interesting here. I just saw this. I was searching for the injury report on Twitter. I did not find the injury report because they have not released it, but I did see this. As reported from Adam Koffler 1 hour ago, the Ravens are, this is a direct quote from him, I think that the Ravens are headed towards starting Tyler Huntley this week in a huge divisional game against the Bengals. However, Huntley popped up on the Friday injury report with an illness. Lamar Jackson, DNP all week, but maybe he's a questionable in case Huntley can't go. So that is interesting. If both Huntley can't go and Lamar can't go, then
Search who's next.
who would be? Let's pull up the depth chart, guys. Let's get interesting here.
I think after watching, last week Tyler Huntley play, I mean, with Ravens fans, got to feel confident that he can play, because the Packers defense, I feel, is better than the Bengals defense, and watching him play with such confidence and watching him play really well, kind of looking like Lamar almost, gives Ravens fans hope.
I had Tyler Huntley on my fantasy team last week, and he got me 35.6.
He was very good last
He
week.
had 2 passing touchdowns and 2 rushing
I'll read
touchdowns.
this one. It says Josh Johnson is the third-string quarterback, and if I'm not mistaken, he started earlier this year for the Jets in relief, and he played halfway decent. So I think
Yes.
I'm not too keen how he fits this style, as they want to run the ball a lot, but he did look fine in some time when he did play, but I think as a Ravens fan, you still want Tyler Huntley to play if Lamar can't go.
Yes. For standings in this game, let's take a look. The Baltimore Ravens, we're going to start with because they're the road team. The Ravens are 8th in the AFC. They're holding on to a record of 8-6. Again, like we talked about, they are coming off of, what did they play?
They lost to the Packers 31-30.
That is a tough one. John Harbaugh, do you agree with his choice at the end of the game?
I agree going for 2. In that situation, yes, but I feel like the call could have been maybe a little bit better. They just crowded the short side, and Mark Evans couldn't get open. And even when they played against, Pittsburgh, it was the right call, but, it wasn't executed right. And, twice you could kick it, an automatic extra point basically because of how good Justin Tucker is. You send him to overtime. You might not win the flip. You want to win it there. So I don't disagree with both those decisions. I just wish, the play call could be maybe a little bit better or better executed.
I don't have anything to comment on the Steelers one when they went for 2 because that was how long ago. I don't specifically remember every detail.
I just remember them blasting John Harbaugh for going for 2 because they had Justin Tucker. That's the only reason I remember that and watching the play. Because both times they went for 2, they tried to get Mark Andrews open, and both of them were just not greatly executed. But
to me, actually, based on last week's Packer game, I'm actually going to disagree with going for 2. And my reasoning is because right before that, with like 5 minutes or so left in the game, the Ravens were down by 14 points. And they came back, scored a touchdown, stopped the Packers, scored another touchdown, and just like that, they're down by 1 point with a chance to tie the game and send it in overtime when their team has all the momentum that they'd had going. So if it were me at head coach, I do like being aggressive. I do like going for 2. I like going for the win. But with the way that the game was going at the end of the game, I would have kicked the extra point because in overtime, even if Green Bay gets the ball, your defense just had a big stop to allow your team to tie the game. So if it were me, I would have gone for the extra point based on the way it had been going.
Again, too, if the defense got you such a big stop, you go for 2, you get it. Now your defense is playing for the win. Because that could also just be showing how much trust you have in your defense. It's like, hey, we can give you a lead. At the same time, Aaron Rodgers in crunch time is just unbelievable. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the 2-minute drill. So it's really hard to say. You can't really look back now and ponder, well, we should have done this, could have done that. You got to focus on the task that's at hand, and the Ravens still have everything they want ahead of them. So they can't really lose too much sleep over this.
Like we talked about, the Ravens are 8th in the AFC. They're holding on to a record of 8-6. The Cincinnati Bengals are 4th in the AFC. They took the division lead this week. They're holding on to a record of 8-6 as well. Whoever wins this game will be in the lead of the division because the next team down is the Steelers, and they are a half game behind. So no matter who wins this game, they will be in the division lead solely.
Another thing to remember, last time these two teams played, Cincinnati destroyed the Ravens with a healthy Lamar Jackson.
Yes. So, last thing is 5:38, and then we will move on. The Ravens currently are holding on to a 56% chance at the playoffs. A win would put them at 83. A loss would bump them all the way down to 32. So this is really a must-win game for the Ravens here. As for the Bengals, let's go to the Bengals. They're right here. Right now they have a 49% chance at the playoffs. A win would boost them up to 74, and a loss would drop them to 21. So I hate to say it, but this is a huge deciding game right here.
Big implications in this
both
game.
teams, a win would put them all the way up here with like 70+% chance at playoffs, and for the other team, a loss would drop them down to like 20 to 30. So this is an absolutely massive game for both teams. For me, with the status of Lamar in question and with the status of Tyler Huntley in flux as well, I would like the Cincinnati Bengals to win this matchup. So I'm going to be looking for the Bengals. Due to the unknown quarterback situation that is going on in Baltimore, I like the Bengals in this matchup.
You know, I'm probably going to have to end up siding with you there. I don't even think that Lamar's the biggest question because he hasn't practiced all week. It's kind of hard for him to get go, especially with his ankle. The bigger loss would be if Tyler Huntley can't go. That would really hurt them. And obviously Josh Jackson with limited playing time, and we don't really know how well he fits this scheme. You know, it's just tough. Last time the Bengals played the Ravens, they threw the ball all over them. Joe Burrow dominated them, teared them apart in the secondary. The Ravens are just depleted in that area. They don't want to get beat there again, but then they have Joe Mixon, Samaje Perine to mix in to help them then throw the ball deep. This is really tough for the Ravens just because of injuries that happened preseason to all their running backs and then during the season to basically their entire defense. You know, a healthy Ravens team, they're probably already clinching a playoff spot with everyone healthy, but unfortunately that's not how the world works. We can't have nice things, and we could be seeing the Ravens missing the playoffs, and I like the Bengals winning. Who would have thought at the beginning of the year, you know, the Bengals would be like kind of dominating the division.
I would not have thought of that.
The Ravens could finish like third or fourth, you know. Just injuries are so huge in this game, and it's clearly shown with the Ravens. That's the best example.
The fact that the Bengals right now are currently in the division lead is mind-blowing. I thought like the Ravens were gonna, like I didn't think the Ravens were necessarily gonna be like Super Bowl win team, but I saw the Ravens as the division, the top team in the division going into the year, just because like what's there not to like about them?
They have everything you want, you know. They did lose Unique Ngakoue, but you know. But it's just crazy to think, you know, with Cincinnati, you know, a lot of people were questioning why they didn't draft Penei Sewell for the line when he was there, you know, to help build their O-line. They drafted Jamar Chase. It worked, but their O-line has allowed the most sacks. Joe Burrow is the most sacked quarterback in the league. If the Ravens want to win, they got to get pressure up front. You got to be able to get to Joe Burrow, knock him, get him rattled, you know. But at the end of the day, with all the injuries, I don't think the Ravens can do that. And the Bengals have just been a surprise team. They've won more games this year in Zach Taylor's tenure than the past 2 years combined. And you really got to like the direction Cincinnati's going. But next year, I'm saying, you know, the Ravens fully healthy. They'll be back. Lamar Jackson healthy. We'll be back to an MVP caliber. But it's really tough to see this team, even if they make the playoffs, how far can they go with all their injuries? I like Cincinnati winning this game. Matt over here likes Cincinnati winning this game. And ladies and gentlemen, the biggest game of the noon slate, not biased at all, Vikings-Rams, thoughts and predictions coming up next. Biggest game of the noon slate and a non-biased opinion is here, the Vikings and the Rams. Hey, something doesn't feel right.
No. I think we got to get more in the spirit.
We got to get in the spirit, baby. Oh my goodness.
What a crazy transformation. We have got our team. That is the Minnesota Vikings. You already know. They were coming off of a win on Monday Night Football. They played the Chicago Bears.
Was not a snooze fest whatsoever. It was so entertaining, and I'm so glad the Bears are on national television.
Something I saw, actually.
Every week, we need to see the Bears on national television. They are so fun to watch. I love watching Matt Nagy call plays. He is just the best.
Something I actually saw was from someone that I watch on YouTube, Purple for the Win podcast. He uploaded a video talking about a tweet that said that Monday night's game was the most viewed Monday night Week 15 game since like 2011.
Just the Week 15, not the most viewed Monday night game. Just the most.
Just
viewed,
Week 15.
Just most viewed Monday night Week 15 game. Kind of a weird stat.
That is
honestly.
I have no idea who keeps track of that stat, but good for them.
Very random, but
good for them. Whoever keeps track of that stat.
You know, who just sits on their couch on a Monday night, you know, all the Christmas stuff going around and thinks, what could be more fun of a family bonding experience? We can watch the Vikings and the Bears play football. Elf could be on, but we're going to watch the Vikings and the Bears play football because we want to watch Matt Nagy coach.
Let's be honest. Who cares about the Bears? The reason this game got views is because the Vikings and Mike Zimmer comes down. One-score game. That's like the definition of his tenure. Is one-score game.
It shouldn't really have been a one-score game. It was a garbage touchdown.
At the end of the last play of the game. So, it was an 8-point game, but it wasn't really. The Vikings should have been able to win like 38-3, but
the Vikings, it's a season of giving, and they gave the Bears a chance.
What a good Mike Zimmer man. He has a good mentality
Mike
right there.
Zimmer, gosh, what a great coach. Never hated him. Never said anything bad about him ever. I've never made a video bashing him ever.
I've definitely never talked for 15 plus minutes like that one video when I talked for I think 12 minutes about how much I hate him.
I didn't know you made a video.
I did.
We both made videos?
I did. On one of my videos, I don't remember what week it was, week 9 I think, so it was after the Cowboys game. There was a whole 12-minute segment where I just talked about him, I talked about coaching, I talked about different playing.
I thought I was jaded.
Oops!
Mind-boggling.
Wait, you made a video about that? I did. Guys, I'm sorry. I'm like Joe Biden. I have memory loss.
Oh, man. Hey,
the Alzheimer's is kicking in, you know?
All politics aside, this is going to be a good game. I mean...
Is 17 years old a good age to have Alzheimer's?
I don't think you're supposed to get that till you're 60 or something.
Oh, well, I'm 17 and apparently I got it. But also something I thought about. You know what I thought about last night?
What did you
think? Actually, I thought about this morning.
What did you think about...
Before the Week 12 video, myself, Matt, actually said that Kirk Cousins could father my children. And the reason I said that, I'm sorry. The reason I said that is because he was doing so good up until that point in the year. And ever since I said Kirk Cousins can father my children, he's been in a slump. So maybe I have to say, Kirk Cousins can no longer father my children. I'm sorry, he's off the father list.
It's a very bold statement there, Matt. And I would personally say Kirk Cousins can still father my children. And Kirk Cousins, I mean, last week wasn't the greatest game. I think we can all admit, the first drive was good, but then after that it was just bad. Nothing was really fun about that game, honestly. I'd rather have watched It's a Wonderful Life.
You think I could go reverse psychiatry mode and say, Matt Stafford can father my children? As can Aaron Rodgers, as can
Aaron
Justin Fields.
Aaron can.
But then,
because your kid won't
maybe they'll all do bad then. Oh, dang, you're right. But they'll be immunized, not vaccinated.
Of course. Politics aside, this game is good, besides us forgetting who we are. This game should be good. It's in Minnesota, right?
Yes, it is.
A thing to think about, Odell has played in Minnesota once before. He played with the Browns. Matt Stafford knows U.S. Bank Stadium well.
He's been here a time or two.
And Matt Stafford knows the Vikings. He knows the defense. Their schemes haven't changed. He knows the personnel. He's played with the Lions, and it's a dramatic change when you're going from some of the weapons he's had to what he now has in L.A. Cooper Kupp's having an unbelievable season. It seems like every game is like 8 catches, over 100 yards, 1 or 2 touchdowns. You know, Van Jefferson's been really good. Robert Woods, until he tore his ACL, was really good. And then they just go and they add Odell Beckham Jr., who the past 3 weeks leading up to that Seattle game hadn't been going off. Seattle was just a nice 1-catch game, really good fantasy outing out of him. But, you know, in this game against a depleted secondary that doesn't have the best corner, Rashad Breeland, anymore.
Yeah, I didn't even talk about that in last week's video because I filmed I don't know if it was completely uploaded, but I filmed last week's video before Rashad Breeland was released. So if you're not all up to speed, oh, actually no, I did talk about it because the Vikings played Monday night and I made a separate video. So I did talk about it. Yes, if you don't know, Vikings starting corner Rashad Breeland was released after a verbal altercation with teammates this last week. He had
What? He just wants to win. That's all it
I know.
was. It was about winning.
Because he played for the Chiefs, so he's just used to winning. And he played for the Packers, too.
He
But that was when they weren't that good.
He also played for Clemson. Shout out.
He's got it on right here, everybody.
You know, he's just a winner, and you know they're gonna pick somebody up. You know,
So-
and I don't know why this came to me randomly. The Buccaneers signed Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about that.
I mean, I don't really know how important that's going to be.
According to Wee Hoopin, he's the greatest running back of all time. So.
Wee Hoopin
knows everything.
Knows everything, and he is smart. But in this game, you know, the Vikings, I think, have maybe the best chance against the Rams more than a lot of other teams, just because Mike Zimmer knows Matt Stafford. He knows his strengths. He knows his weaknesses. At the same time, Matt Stafford knows what the Vikings defense wants to do. He knows the Vikings corners aren't great. He knows he's got the best receiver in the game right now in Cooper Kupp that has tormented defenses all year. The Vikings could match him up with Patrick Peterson and maybe have pull his safety over top to double him. I think that's the easiest way to stop him, but then what do you do with Odell? Then you got to probably put Cameron Dantzler on him and just hope and pray to God that's how you win a game.
Yeah.
There's just so many question marks on what do we do? You know, I stuttered there like Joe Biden, but honestly, what do we do? You know, Darrell Henderson might not even suit up. And Sony Michel, you know, we're halfway decent against the run, but we've really struggled against the pass. How can we even stop this? This is one of the most complex offenses the Vikings have had to face all year, besides QAnon Rodgers. But you know, it's a challenge. As a Vikings fan, we like challenges. What we're not gonna like is on Sunday when Matt Stafford goes for 400 yards and 5 touchdowns,
like somehow
and we lose.
Like week 13, Jared Goff won NFC Offensive Player of the Week, and he threw for like 350 or plus yards. And like 3 touchdowns or 2 touchdowns.
And you're taking players like Khalif Raymond and Amon-Ra St. Brown. Those guys went off. Could you imagine what Odell, Van Jefferson, Cooper Kupp, what could they do? And, you know, Mike Zimmer's had to sit all week. He's a defensive mastermind, okay? Look at our defensive stats this year. Master. He says he'll probably have a quote-unquote plan, but how do you stop Cooper?
Yeah.
How do you stop Cooper Kupp? I mean, every team's asked that this year.
Yeah, and it hasn't worked.
No team really has an answer. He's just gritty, hard worker. You know, he could father my kids, honestly. That guy could father my kids. Him and Kirk Cousins would be great parents to my kids.
I would not have a problem with it either.
But,
well, not Kirk Cousins.
You know, but Kirk Cousins...
We know how that ended last time.
You know, I want to double down on that statement. You know, Kirk Cousins can father my kids. He still can. He's a great husband. He's a great father.
Are you Julie Cousins? Are you the Julie Cousins?
Julie, I have something terrible I need to tell you right now. Kirk and I had an affair. And
good for you.
But politics aside, when we look at this game, then we look at the Vikings offense, you know. Justin Jefferson and Jalen Ramsey is going to be the key matchup. You know, Adam Thielen's questionable. It's kind of hard to see him play. We'd love to see him play, but, you know, I don't really think it's going to happen. Even if he does, how well is he going to play? And then, obviously, KJ Osborne had one decent game against Arizona. You know, he had a big catch against Carolina.
He's questionable.
D.D. Westbrook.
He's back. He's back in. He was on the COVID list. He's back.
He could be a big help. He needs to be a big...
He needs to be. He hasn't been a super big help this whole year.
This is the game where he needs to be big.
This is where he needs to step
Justin
up.
Jefferson's probably going to get guarded fairly well against Jalen Ramsey. Best corner in the game. But when we look at this game, you know, there's no Dalvin Cook, so it's got to be Alexander Madison to step up.
Oh, yeah.
Kene has got to step up.
Kene Wangu, baby. King Kene.
And, you know, Wayne Gallman, we got him off the Falcons practice squad. Again, former Clemson guy. You know, he might have to step up, you know. There's just a lot of question marks and there's a lot of uncertainty coming into this game. But this is a game where it seems like the Vikings don't have the chance, but they miraculously win because we have one guy, Kirk Cousins. And Kirk Cousins is going to probably have a good statistical game, but will it be enough? The biggest thing for the Vikings is, can their defense stop Cooper Kupp? Can we stop Odell? Can we stop anybody on the Rams offense? Yeah. And then can Kirk Cousins not put the ball in harm's way? And can we be able to move the ball on the ground without Madison? We've proven it a couple times this year, but this is by far the biggest challenge in run defense. But it should be a fun game. Any other notes that you have?
Something else interesting that I did see and just kind of think about is that the Rams are coming off of a win on Tuesday against the Seahawks. And the Rams didn't... Going into the game, I thought the Rams should be able to kind of blow them out of the water.
They didn't get off to a hot start. But it's one of those teams where you don't need to. The defense for Seattle really had nobody. And Cooper Kupp was able to do what he wanted. And Matt Stafford. And I really want the Vikings to win. It just seems like impossible. It just seems very unlikely, just given everything that the Rams offer. It's just really hard for me to believe that Mike Zimmer is going to have the game plan to shut down Matt Stafford. I hope I'm wrong. I hope the Vikings dominate, and I hope the Vikings do find a way to shut down Cooper Kupp, but we couldn't shut down Amon-Ra St. Brown, and we couldn't stop Jared Goff. So why should we believe Mike Zimmer has the plan to stop Matt Stafford and stop this Rams offense? It's just really hard to believe.
Something interesting, though, again, kind of speaking on Tuesday, though, that the Rams played Tuesday, and the Vikings played Monday, so they're still on a short week, but not quite as short as the Rams. They're coming off of a Tuesday game, and keep in mind that they have to travel on Christmas Day. So, I know it's just, I'm just saying, though, they have to travel on Christmas coming off of a Tuesday game, which gives them only what? And they might, I don't even know if they practiced at all this week. If they did, it was probably only for one day. Because Wednesday would have been a walkthrough.
You kind of treat that as, like a Thursday, like a Sunday to Thursday game prep.
Yeah.
Monday, nothing. Tuesday, walkthrough. Wednesday, light practice, and you go into a game. But there's an extra day probably now in between where you have, the walkthrough. You don't probably have a rest day. You have a walkthrough. Thursday might be another walkthrough. Thursday, Friday, Saturday could be practices. And then, obviously, you fly into Minnesota where everyone wants to be.
Because Minnesota's the greatest state in the U.S.
Greatest country ever. But, it seems like the Rams are at a little bit of a disadvantage, but they're really not.
I think the thing to think about, though, I know we just kind of got done talking about it, but even though the Vikings only have one extra day of rest, if you think about it, it really is more like 2+ days of rest. Even though it literally is just Monday to Sunday versus Tuesday to Sunday. But really, considering factors like travel and the fact that it's a Tuesday, it's different.
The Vikings could have had a rest day Tuesday, and then both, because then the Rams would have played, so then they both would have had walkthrough, so just a little bit more rest. But at the end of the day, it's the NFL. Crazy things happening. COVID was big last week in altering games. So, I guess for picks, big Vikings guys. But I just can't find in my heart to believe Mike Zimmer can pull this off. It'd be a bigger win than when we beat the Packers at home.
Yeah.
This would be huge. The momentum this would give the Vikings, because after this, they go to Lambeau Field on Sunday night. Okay, we've proven we can beat the Packers before, but going into Lambeau on a night is
Lambeau's just
tough.
different.
It's just difficult, and then we play the Bears at home. So we gotta at least get 2 or 3. If not, we gotta win these next 3
Yeah.
to really get us into the playoffs. But if we want to win 2 or 3, this is probably the game we need to get the most, more than.
If they can't win this week, then they absolutely
Then they gotta win out.
100% they absolutely have to win against
And
the Packers.
winning
And
in
if they don't lose that,
And
it's
winning
game
in
over.
Lambeau's tough. We did it last year, but there was nobody there. There was no fans last year, and we had Dalvin Cook. I think Dalvin Cook should be on track to come back next week, but
Yeah.
it's different with fans and the energy, and you're playing such a team that's so hot right now in the Packers. And a rivalry, and you already beat them, so the Packers are coming in with, all right, we can't get swept. We got to split. We got to get them at home, and they want to upend our playoff chances. And then we get to watch Matt Nagy coach again, which is truly a blessing. I'm so thankful for Christmas that Matt.
I think they should keep Matt Nagy for.
I think they should
until he dies.
I think they should extend him a lifetime contract.
Yeah, please.
Politics aside,
Please do.
It's hard to see the Vikings winning this game. Obviously, we're pulling Vikings, but you guys deserve an honest answer. And my honest answer is the Rams win, and it's going to be a heartbreak because the Vikings are going to play really well. They're going to stay in this game. It's a game that's going to be close, and just the backbreak, heartbreaking. I don't know what it is. It could be a field goal, a long touchdown late in the game. One of those, it's just going to be a gut punch, and it's going to make you sit for a couple days and just think, why? Why do I put myself through this? Did you see that Viking rant that went viral? The teacher that went viral for his Vikings rant about being a Minnesota sports fan.
Yeah, I did see that.
It's going to make you contemplate why you're a Minnesota sports fan. You really can't get out of it.
You're born into it. You have to accept it.
You're born into Minnesota sports. You can choose to follow these other teams, but at the end of the day,
like Packer fans in Minnesota. They just leave.
You are purple and gold. You are Minnesota Twin. You are a Minnesota sports fan until you die, and you have to live through heartbreak.
Yeah.
It's tough, but we've managed, okay? We get the Minneapolis Miracle once in a while. We have great regular seasons, but come playoffs, nothing. But if we do make the playoffs, I just hope we play the Saints, because we always have luck against the Saints in the playoffs. Don't mention 2009. We don't need to talk about that.
No. I, as well, do like the Rams. I like Cooper Kupp. No teams have been able to find an answer, and, we've got Patrick Peterson, but, he's still plenty fine. I would love to see him for more years here, and just as a person, I really like Patrick Peterson. He's a cool dude. But it's hard to see them covering him up completely, because, they've got Peterson, then they've got Cam Dantzler, who has had some hot and cold spells. They've got Mac Alexander, whom, from what I saw, he was one of the worst-rated quarterbacks from PFF this year. And then they had Bashaud Breeland, who started the year absolutely awful, and then he kind of got decent as time went on.
Picked it up. Mackenzie Alexander, his first stint in Minnesota was good. He went to Cincinnati and was an average stint, so him coming back to Minnesota was huge to help in the cornerback room. Hasn't been the season you want. He can change it with a good performance here and change the direction of his season. But, Chris Boyd might have to help out over top. I think the best way we can stop Cooper Kupp's a double team, making sure he doesn't beat us deep. If they're running slants, make sure Eric Kendricks, Anthony Barr level him, and they don't allow him just to roam free.
Yeah.
But it's just really tough. You look at his stats, he's on pace for almost 2,000 yards. Like, he could hit 2,000 yards in a season. That's never been done before. It's just incredible. He's on pace for, I think 19 touchdowns at this rate. Him and Matt Stafford have a great connection. You can compare it to even almost Calvin Johnson and Matt Stafford when they play together. That was a dynamic connection. And you can also almost compare it to the one we have in Minnesota with Cousins and Jefferson, the jerseys we're wearing. Not as strong as this one, obviously, but theirs is pretty cool. I mean, almost a wrecking receiver.
My key for the Vikings to be able to stop Cooper Kupp, I would also have to say double him. Even if that means Odell Beckham is going to be open at times, I would rather have Beckham open than having Kupp open, because we've seen Cooper Kupp and what he could do, and we've seen Beckham too. And even if OBJ is open, he does not quite pack the same punch as Cooper Kupp. So that would be my key: is double him and always make sure he's accounted for.
If one guy beats us, it can't be Cooper Kupp.
Yes.
If Odell beats us, it hurts. We could have schemed better, but. If Sony Michel or Darrell Henderson end up beating us, I think Vikings fans can live with that. It'll still hurt, but knowing you're getting beat, not because of Cooper Kupp, would probably be the biggest win, and trying to figure out how can we slow him down without injuring him, of course. It would be so bad if he got hurt.
That was a very long analysis. I like the Rams. He likes the Rams. Hopefully, reverse psychology can come into play in this one, and Minnesota's able to pull out the win. But we are now moving on. Next up, we have the Bears taking on Seattle.
I love how we just got into Vikings jerseys just to say we're gonna lose. What great fans are we, Minnesota!
Woo!
All right, we are in record time, but a lot of these games are good. But the one that we're about to talk about. It really is. And we got the Seahawks and we got the Bears in the late afternoon slate of games. Matt, okay, I guess, guys, I'm actually mad. He's Joel, okay? We can get the bug out here, okay? This is J-Dude. I'm mad, okay? If you couldn't tell, now you do. Joel, what can you tell us about this game?
I do have to start by saying good for you if you're still watching this video. Strong shot, you're not, but if there's actually any soul on this earth...
You've probably skipped to watch our Minnesota analysis and you fell asleep, and then you just woke up. And now you're seeing this.
Yeah! If there's anyone still watching this, actually, thank you for that, because there's a strong shot, no one is. But I don't necessarily make these videos for views. I make them just because I enjoy making them, and I like talking about the NFL, because I would love to work in sports. So, let's look at the injury report. We also do need to note, first off, Andy Dalton has been ruled out with a groin injury for the Bears, which means if Justin Fields cannot go, he's suffering an ankle injury.
Super Bowl 52 MVP Nick Foles
will be starter. And I believe I saw they're currently doubtful. Well, that's not necessarily the official report or designation, but it is being looked at that way. He's questionable officially. Here is the report, everybody. Andy Dalton out. Jason Peters out. Xavier Crawford out. Jakeem Grant out. Justin Fields questionable. Marquise Goodwin questionable. Eddie Goldman questionable. Oh, it says, hold on. Goodwin and Goldman both practiced in full, so they should be good to go, but they're still questionable. Moving on, we have Seattle. John Radigan, linebacker, out. Bless Austin, corner, questionable.
We were talking about cool names, obviously. We're going to talk about the Saints-Dolphins game later and the cool name coming up, but Bless Austin's a really cool name. I do got to give him that. Bless Austin, that is one heck of a name, but this game is not a good game.
Bears are out of the playoff picture.
Seattle is also out.
No, they're actually not.
Seattle will be out after this week.
Seattle Seahawks are 13th in the NFC. They have a record of 5-9. They're technically still in, but not really. The Chicago Bears are out. They are 4-10. Bears are coming off of a loss Monday night to the Minnesota Vikings. The Seahawks are coming off of a loss Tuesday to the Rams.
The one thing I do want to say, I guess I might have a little bit of intrigue. Obviously, this is probably the last time we're going to see Matt Nagy on the sideline this season. This will probably be his final season, but the Russell Wilson era in Seattle could be coming to an end. You're seeing a lot of trade rumors rolling around and buzzing, and what's the status of Pete Carroll? What direction does his team go? It's crazy to think, Seattle was such a dynasty and Chicago were contenders, and now they're both here.
Yeah.
Sad times, but for Vikings fans, I'm so glad the Bears suck, and Seattle, I hope they get better at some point. This game, though, I want Seattle to win because the Bears are one of the worst teams.
We don't want to give the Bears any momentum heading into Week 18, if that game matters.
The Bears are just one of the worst teams to watch, and that's why they should be on primetime every game. So I'm going Seahawks for this game.
I'm going to go Seattle because the Bears aren't good, and they honestly showed no hope against Minnesota this week. I mean, the only reason it was a one-score game is because Mike Zimmer couldn't capitalize on turnovers. Was a big key. Red zone defense was a big key, and he just wasn't able to capitalize. I like Seattle in this game. He likes Seattle. That was a fairly quick pick, and we're going to keep it quick. We are moving on. AFC West, good wild card battle coming up next. It is the Broncos taking on the Raiders. Next game, we've got an AFC West battle for the wild card spot. It is the Dolphins. Nope, it is not the Dolphins. It is the Broncos, and they are taking on the Raiders this week. The Denver Broncos are coming off of a loss to the Cincinnati Bengals. The Las Vegas Raiders are coming off of
a win against the Browns on Monday afternoon football.
Credit Daniel Carlson. Playoff picture we had. The Raiders are 10th in the AFC. They're holding on to a record of 7-7. The Broncos are 13th in the AFC. They're also holding on to a record of 7-7. Per 538, the whatever team I find first. We gotta keep going down, neither of them. First, we got the Broncos. They have a 5% chance at the playoffs. A win puts them at still 12%, really low, and a loss net 0.1%. Then we've got the Raiders. They are currently at 10%. A win puts them up to 20%, and the loss drops them down to 1%. So really, both teams, tough to see them in the postseason, but this is a must-win game for both teams here.
It's a must-win game. The Broncos more than likely are going to be without Teddy Bridgewater.
He is out.
He is out.
Yes.
He suffered an unfortunate head injury.
Prayers up for him.
It's just unfortunate, his career to this point. He's been good, and then injuries like this happen, and it's just really sad. It makes you question life sometimes.
He's gone through so much. It's hard to see him because Teddy Bridgewater had so much potential before the injury 2017 or 2018 or whatever year, 2017, and then now, I mean it's hard to see him because
he's a good NFL quarterback. He's not as strong as other quarterbacks. He's not as good as the Patrick Mahomes and the Justin Herberts, but you insert him into your team and he gives you a fighting chance. Obviously, Vegas has had a lot of issues off the field and injuries. If you'd like to read those.
We are right now, everybody. For the Broncos, they will be without Teddy Bridgewater. We already talked about that. Linebacker Kenny Young is also out for this game. He is listed with a concussion. We've got a slew of players questionable. Safety Kareem Jackson is questionable with a back injury. Also questionable, defensive end Draymond Jones with the foot. Defensive lineman and former Viking Shamar Stephen is questionable with a knee injury. Shelby Harris is questionable with an ankle injury. He is a pretty key piece to that defensive line. Defensive lineman Mike Purcell questionable with a neck and thumb injury, as is Caden Stearns, the safety, questionable with a shoulder and neck injury. And last but not least, linebacker Baron Browning, there we go, questionable with an illness, must not be COVID related or else he would be on their report. Moving on, we have the Raiders up here. Out is safety Jonathan Abram. This is not the first time he's been out this is not the first time. Tight end Darren Waller has been hurt for how long now, would you say? A month plus? It's been plus a month.
He's not practiced all week. Is considered doubtful. Don't expect him to play. Expect Foster Monroe to step in.
Linebacker Denzel Perriman, he was out last week. He's listed as questionable with an ankle injury headed into this one. Defensive tackle Jonathan Hankins, questionable with a back injury. And last but not least, linebacker Will Compton is questionable with a personal related matter. For this game, both teams started like 3-0. They were up here, and now then they're just kind of like treading water here. I'm gonna go with the Raiders.
And
They're coming off of a win, and I just like the Raiders in this game.
I'm going to go Broncos. If they can run the ball with Javonte Williams and Melvin Gordon to take some pressure off of Drew Lock. You know, this is a team that wants to run the ball anyway. You know, if they can just run the ball, they can run up the tackles. You know, Javonte Williams. He's got to be the spark plug for this team, and Melvin Gordon's got to complement him. At the end of the day, you know, I don't really think either of these teams are going to make the playoffs. They're just fighting for a chance, and we differ. I think Broncos are going to win.
I like the Raiders in Las Vegas this week. Differing picks, but we still have the same. I don't know where I was going with that one. Moving on, we have the Steelers and Chiefs coming up. They are our final late afternoon game.
Football.
Football! We love football!
Football.
Should we just redo that?
You guys had a potty. Okay.
Are they filming TikTok or what?
You guys doing TikToks over there?
No.
No, I don't think they're doing TikToks over there.
I don't got a phone. They're too young. I didn't get a phone until ninth grade.
Big game. Said no one. We got the Chiefs and we got the Steelers. Playoff implications, yes. Chiefs looking to win their division with a win. The Steelers are looking to improve their playoff chances with a win. I guess this is a big game. The intrigue, not too much, but, you know, this should be a good game. And here with the injury report is Joel.
All right, here we go. Game status is listed right here on the injury report. Linebacker Buddy Johnson. This is the Steelers, by the way. Steelers linebacker Buddy Johnson is out for this game with a foot injury. Tight end Pat Freiermuth is out with a concussion. That is big. Pat Freiermuth has been a pretty decent player this whole year. I like him a lot.
Eric Ebron's got to step up. You know, he's not been well liked by Steeler Nation, but you know he's a big play tight end. So Ben Roethlisberger's got to be able to find him.
Defensive end Chris Wormley for the Steelers is also out with a groin injury. Let's move on.
Active. They're all active.
They're all active. We have no players listed with a designation going into this game. For the report, let's read it off. The Kansas City Chiefs are first in the AFC. They have a record of 10-4. The Steelers are ninth in the AFC. They have a record of 7-6-1. For playoff clinching scenarios, the Kansas City Chiefs can clinch the AFC West with a win and a Chargers loss. The Chargers are playing the Texans. There's a strong shot the Chargers will win that game, so it looks like they'll have to wait another week. The Chiefs can also clinch a playoff berth with a win this week. Steelers, no scenarios for them. Per 538, the Steelers right now have missed them. Steelers have a 17% chance at making the playoffs. A win puts them at 44%, so that is huge. A loss puts them at 11, and yes. Either way, Chiefs don't really need to look. They're over 99. They're going to make it.
The win, they clinch.
Win clinches, loss
they'll
still at like
probably
97,
clinch
so
next
they are
week.
still good.
The Chiefs have figured things out, I'd say. You know, it's about time. But I think what's really surprising is how well their defense has been playing.
They're one of the hottest teams in the NFL right now.
And
But
it's their defense that's kind of carrying them. Their offense continues to just be a little inconsistent, but you see the Raiders game, when they put it all together, that's a good team.
I think it's important to note, too, that Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill are both on the COVID reserve. So I believe it's for sure, but either way, they likely will be out for this game, and that's two of the biggest weapons on this Kansas City team. So that would give it to
Leah, you only get 10 seconds.
who else? Who did the
You
Chiefs
get
even have?
20.
Josh Gordon would then have to step up, Byron Pringle, Mecole Hardman, and then the running backs, Darren Williams,
Clyde.
Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Jerick McKinnon. I don't know if he's still healthy or not, but regardless, the Chiefs are
Ready or
hot,
not, here I come, sardines.
and they got to be able to run the ball. The Steelers are one
No,
of
follow
the
me,
worst
each other.
run defenses in the league this year, and at the end of the day, even with the injuries, I think the Chiefs just have the momentum. The Chiefs' defense is what's going to win, has been winning them games, and that's probably what's going to happen here. As much as we respect,
And with Pat Freiermuth out too.
Ben Roethlisberger, it's just not enough. Hopefully Chase Claypool, plays well because we love Chase Claypool here in Minnesota. I think the Chiefs are going to win this game.
I as well think the Chiefs are going to win. They're one of the hottest teams in the NFL. Even without possibly Kelsey and Tyreek, I still think they should be able to win this game. Steelers are here, but they're not quite the team like last year. Last year, I hate to say they were fraudulent.
They were fraudulent.
They were. I hate to say it, but it's kind of true. They were fraudulent.
I guess I'm not worried about the defense of the Steelers because the Steelers' defense has always been good. So if the Chiefs are missing Kelsey and Hill, I think their defense will be fine. It's just can their offense muster things together? Can they play like second half Minnesota? Can they play like the second half? They got to jump out to early starts. So, if they start slow, the Chiefs are probably going to capitalize early. It's going to be a lot harder to come back than when you play Minnesota because you can always come back against Minnesota. And then obviously what happened last week, they can come back. But at the end of the day, the Chiefs are finding their final form. They're getting hot at the right time. And this is a game the Chiefs should win and continue that big win streak they're on.
I also like the Chiefs. I don't know if I have that much needs to be said. Besides that, they're one of the hottest teams in the NFL right now. Moving on, we have Sunday Night Football. It is Washington, and they are taking on the Cowboys. On to this, we have an NFC East battle. It is the Cowboys, and they are taking on the Washington Football Team. The Washington Football Team is coming off of...
They lost to the Eagles.
They're coming off a loss to the Eagles on Tuesday. The Dallas Cowboys are coming off of a win against the New York Giants. The Cowboys clinched a playoff spot last night because the Titans were able to beat the 49ers. So that clinched the Cowboys a playoff spot, everybody.
They're just playing to have fun.
Well, not really. They did clinch the division title. So, yes, confirmed they've clinched a division title. The Washington Football Team, everybody. Where is the Washington Football Team? They're going to be up here. Washington Football Team is 10th in the NFC. They have a record of 6-8. Going to be tough to see them make the playoffs. They currently have a 10% chance at the playoffs. A win boosts them up to 30%, and a loss drops them to 4.
A win would be huge, as Joel said, but at the same time, it's Washington. I don't know.
Actually, it is possible. They've not clinched the NFC East yet, but they did clinch a playoff berth. So the Cowboys can clinch a playoff berth with a win or an Eagles loss. And the Eagles are, not the Eagles. The Cowboys are second in the NFC. They have a record of 10-4. They are one game behind the Packers, but I believe the Packers hold the tiebreaker over everyone. So personally, I also have the injury report, which I forgot to look at. For the Washington Football Team, safety Landon Collins is out for this game. He has a foot injury. Safety William Jackson corner. He's a corner. William Jackson is also out for this game. He has a calf injury. Defensive tackle Daniel Wise, he left the game against the Eagles. He is out with a knee injury. Also out, safety DeShazer Everett. He is out with a personal matter. I saw this morning the headline, or not necessarily a headline, but I saw the fact that he was involved in a car crash. Another person in the car was killed. Prayers up for him and the family of everyone involved because that is absolutely awful to hear. But he is out for this game. Questionable running back Antonio Gibson with a toe injury. And wide receiver Curtis Samuel is also questionable with a hamstring injury. Samuel did not play Tuesday. And Dallas Cowboys are Injury report is next. Cowboys will be without tackle Tyron Smith. He has been hurt a lot of the year, so this is not the first time. Safety Israel Mukambu. He is also questionable in this game with an illness. And yes,
Yeah, Tony Pollard was upgraded to active. He will be playing.
he had a full practice today, so he is going to be good to go. Personally, in this game, I do like the Dallas Cowboys to clinch the NFC East Sunday night. Cowboys did not play well at all. Taylor Heineke will be back in, but the Cowboys, Washington really didn't play well at all Tuesday. I like the Cowboys going into this game.
I think the Cowboys want to win this game because obviously, we got an inter-division game, and it's just really the Cowboys. Cowboys are just a better team, is all I'm trying to say. Even if, with Curtis Samuel and Antonio Gibson are healthy, I don't think they have enough pieces to win this game, especially with that high-powered Cowboys receiving trio. But, yeah, I think the Cowboys are going to take this one on Sunday night.
I as well like the Cowboys, and we are moving on to close out the video. It is time for Monday Night Football. Dolphins taking on the Saints.
To close out the greatest week of all, Week 16, we have a fantastic Monday Night Football game between the Saints and the red-hot Miami Dolphins.
The Miami Dolphins have won, I believe, now 6 games in a row. They started the year 1-7, and they are 7-7.
Ripped off 6 in a row. They haven't played too many incredible opponents. I wouldn't classify the Saints as one.
You might need to bend down if they want to see you. They might only be able to see your chest right now.
No, you can see him.
The Miami Dolphins started the year at 1-7. They are now 7-7. They are 11th in the AFC, holding on to a record of 7-7. 3rd in the AFC East, behind the Bills and the Patriots. The New Orleans Saints are also 7-7. They are 2nd in the NFC South and 9th in the NFC. Saints are coming off of a huge win
Against Tampa Bay, where they shut out Tom Brady.
on Sunday night. Dolphins are coming off of a win against...
The Jets.
Yes. So, there is no injury report for this game because this game is
On Monday night, there's no injury report. The injury report will be released on
tomorrow.
Saturday.
Because we're filming Friday, injury report won't come out until tomorrow. But
Here's all you need to know. Ian Book for the Saints is slated to start after Taysom Hill and Trevor Siemian both got COVID. That's positive. Ian Book's one of the best quarterback names in the league. So we are very excited about Ian Book. As for Miami, they're still going to start Tua. They still have all their offensive guys. This is going to be a very defensive-minded game because both offenses aren't all that spectacular. These are both teams that want to ride their defense out. That's what Miami's been doing. The Saints are going to have to do that if they want to win this game. But
I like to say, no, not Saints, I'm sorry. I like the Dolphins. Dolphins have been hot recently. They've won 6 games in a row. And the Saints, well, they're starting Ian Book. So
it's a very tough first start, especially with such big implications on the playoffs. And Miami being one of the better defenses in the league, you probably wouldn't have thought that at the beginning of the year, but they've really picked it up, and that's what they've been riding on this win streak. Tua just not putting the ball in harm's way and just getting points on every possession, so it's been so keen. Their defenses can set them up to help that offense thrive. And, as much as, I want to see Ian Book play well, I just think the Dolphins at the end of the day are just going to win this game.
Jameis and the Saints started the year all the way up here, and since then they've been a hit-or-miss team.
The Jameis Winston injury really hurt this team.
It absolutely did. I like the Dolphins. I think you like the Dolphins too, it sounds like, going into this game.
We are both Dolphins guys, and, what a crazy win streak. What would happen, just pull up your little 538, because, the Dolphins were at one point, considered to be out of this, and now they're just seem to be thrusted in.
The Dolphins right now only still have a 10% chance. A win this week would bump them up to 18%. A loss would drop them down to 1.
And this is a game they can get, This isn't the biggest, this isn't a Chiefs. This isn't a
Tampa Bay. You know, this is the game they can get.
The Saints right now have a 50%
It's
chance.
cooler down here.
A win puts them at 66. A loss drops them to
Upstairs
31. I'm going with the Dolphins. He's going with the Dolphins. Tyler, who's going to win this game, Dolphins or Saints?
Saints.
All right, you heard it from him. They are starting Ian Book, their third string quarterback. We like the Dolphins. That is going to do it for this video. Thank you guys. Actually, you can do the outro.
Thank you guys so much for watching this long, informative video. If you did enjoy it, please give it a like, comment, subscribe. Comment what you got from Santa this Christmas, because this video will be up probably on Saturday or in the morning, and Santa will have given you all your goods. So comment below what you're getting for Christmas, and also comment below what you think on the Minnesota Vikings.
That is going to do it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to leave a like and share with your friends if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. I'll see you in the next one. Like, comment, subscribe. Peace. Have a good night. Peace out. Skol Vikings.
Kirk and father my kids.